On Marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa, call 205-345-7200 or click on Advertise with Us on our website.
And knocked down again. It was Christian Miller.
It's time for the Miller's Edge with four-time SEC champion and two-time national champion Christian Miller.
Once again with Christian Miller taking him down.
Here's college football playoff national champion Christian Miller on Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC.
And welcome into this Thursday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are staying cool again. 90 degrees here at Reed. We got another hot one on our hands, and I don't see that slowing down as we wrap up the dog days of summer in terms of the sports media side of things. But the real dog days of summer are quickly approaching us. That's training camp, which has already started for many teams in the National Football League. You got college training camps kicking off very soon. Alabama next week around this time will be on the practice field. So fired up about that. We'll keep talking about that, what we're looking forward to most, the major storylines regarding training camp, especially with Alabama. And we'll talk a few more things that have popped up. Of course, we got the daily X scroll that we do here, that we find the latest news, right, Reed? The biggest topics, not just with Alabama, but of course, college football world, really just across all sports. Sorry for the folks that only want to talk about Alabama football. There's going to be some things that come up outside of that. For example, out of Big Ten Media Days, we have something we have to talk about, Reed, that some might consider maybe Nick Saban's greatest mistake. I know you guys have probably seen the news, but if you haven't, wait till we get into this conversation. I think it's going to be an interesting one. And I feel like every time, I don't want to say too much without saying names and spoiling what we're going to talk about, but I feel like every time this young man gets in front of a microphone, Reed, there's always some type of headline that follows, right? Not necessarily in a bad way. I don't think he's trying to create headlines, but whether he's talking about NIL opportunities or whatever the case may be, there's always something that the media is able to walk away with, and it ends up being a pretty eye-popping, I guess, article based off a number of things that I've heard this individual talk about, which the latest had something to do with Alabama and Nick Saban. So we're going to talk about that plenty here in a moment. But first, I do want to offer my condolences, Reed. I know you just were talking about how upset you are, man. The Birmingham Stallions officially no longer a team in the UFL. That was announced, I guess, this morning, right? That was
this
when
morning.
it was officially announced. Yeah. So you just were talking about it. You're a big Birmingham Stallions fan. You said you were a big supporter. Listen, I know from a business perspective, I mean, you got to be able to make it make sense. And that was one thing that I didn't understand a bunch, Reed. You're talking about the state of Alabama. Everybody loves football in this great state. You're, skipping a hop from the University of Alabama, which we know football is huge there. The Birmingham Stallions won several championships. They're a good football team. They just hired head coach A.J. McCarron, who also is a former Crimson Tide quarterback, arguably one of the most successful quarterbacks in school history, especially during the Saban era. I mean, you would think they would have so much going for them where the support would be a lot higher, Reed, but it just didn't really seem quite there. And, the league probably had a decision to make in terms of, hey, should we try a new market that might do a little bit better? That's pretty much what's happening here. So I'm sure AJ, did he, I'm assuming he still is coaching, right? Because I haven't heard any news regarding that. Have they said anything?
The only thing that recently kind of made me figure that this move was going to happen, Christian, is their defensive coordinator. I'm going to try to pronounce his last name correctly. I think it's Kevin Shearer. He coached here at Alabama. Actually. Yes. During his time as director of player development from 2010 to 2012, he was the defensive coordinator. And I think it was 2 days ago, he announced that he would. They didn't say the specific role, but he said that he would be joining LSU and their staff. So I didn't know if that was, something to come. But I was kind of considering, I was just keeping that in the back of my mind in case news like this were to end up coming up.
Yeah, I don't, and he might. I mean, listen, LSU is a good gig. I don't know what his role is, like you mentioned. I don't know what's going to be in Baton Rouge, but I can't really blame him for that, especially knowing Lane Kiffin and staff. They just got there. They got a heck of a football team to work with, and maybe you want to get back in the college ranks. But outside of that, I'm curious if AJ's continuing as the head coach of whatever the new city's going to be. I haven't heard anything with that, so we'll have to see. But they were the champions in 22, 23, and 24, right? Am I getting that right? 3 years in a row?
Yes, sir.
Man, I hate that. I hate that they're moving, but I understand it, right? They just didn't really get the support that they were probably looking for. So yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. I wonder what like the target city would be. I mean, any word, anything you've seen?
The one that I've been seeing, because I follow a lot of pages regarding it, trying to keep up. I've been hearing Salt Lake. That's the Salt Lake City. That's what I've been hearing. Believe it or not.
I feel like, I mean, you keep up with it more than I do. What team would you say, or what city had the best turnout for their game?
Easily the St. Louis. I mean,
really?
They were pushing 30,000 every game.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like that was from year one to, this past season. They, especially the year that I believe the Stallions, I think it was year 3 when they won their last title to three-peat. I believe they played the playoff game at St. Louis, and, that place was packed to the dome. That is the one, because, other ones, other teams have spikes here and there, but that one team, they love some Battlehawks football.
Well, maybe they'll find a city like that. But listen, I do think they need more support for the league. They're doing good things. There's a lot of guys that get camp invites, workouts, right? I think they have something good with the spring league, man. They just have to find the right market maybe, and I don't know, maybe over time it'll get a little bit better. I know, speaking of invites, I saw Bugs, one of my former teammates. He had a workout with the Seahawks. He was just playing with Orlando, had a great season there. Now he's looking to get another opportunity to play in the National Football League. So, I don't think the league is slowing down, but for now, the time has come to an end in Birmingham with the Stallions, which they also had old history, too, with the old, USFL or whatever it was, like way back in the day?
Yeah, so Wyatt actually brought that up at the end of Gary's show about the Birmingham Iron.
Oh, well, the Iron, but I'm saying one like back in the day when there was another league, right? The USFL back in Birmingham had a history before, these are the new age Stallions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure, what was it, whenever they had the other league, I don't know, it was the 90s or whatever it was.
Yeah, so I think I know what you're talking about. And that's initially what they started off, the Stallions started off doing for the first 2 seasons. It was the USFL, right? There was the USFL and the XFL. And then in year 3, that was supposed to be the USFL, they merged together and made the UFL, putting together 4 XFL teams and 4 USFL teams.
Yeah. I'm saying the history in terms of their season specific, or not season, their franchise specifically, back in the 80s. It might even have been before that, but I want to say the USFL is back in the 80s. The Stallions were a big thing, and I think there's a lot of nostalgia when they initially came back to Birmingham, and I bring that up to say I'm just kind of shocked that it didn't do as well as many probably thought it would be, especially given there's no pro team. Right, back in the 80s, they had the USFL, which they just brought back. But you would think it would do a little bit better than it's done. But unfortunately, just hadn't really worked out. So we'll have to see what's coming next. We got to hit a timeout. When we come back, though, we're going to dive into this conversation head first. Right, we're going to talk about what could have been maybe, just maybe, Nick Saban's greatest mistake while he was here at Alabama. We heard from a young man at Big Ten Media Days that definitely caught the attention of many, because of all the what-ifs, right? So we'll talk about that. Plus, we got Brandon Clear coming up at 11:30 and Mr. Adam Lamparello of Lamparello Law. At the top of the hour, we got plenty to talk about, plenty to dive into right here on this Thursday edition of the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230.
Freshest, best quality to our customers. So we just look at it as, hey, basically, we're your kitchen. You're just coming to eat in your kitchen. Taco Casa, under the biggest cactus in town.
From our home base in Birmingham, Alabama, we are here treating patients from every generation across the United States and from around the world. We're here for the rookies and the dreamers trying to make a name for themselves. We are here for the achievers
who are resilient
and won't take no for an answer. We're here for the coaches,
athletic trainers, and mentors
who are.
That's 877-NOW-GOLD. Call Monetary Gold now at 877-NOW-GOLD. Do it before the next headline. not after. Performance may vary. You should always consult your financial and tax professional.
Hey, it's Christian Miller, and I want to tell you about our great friends over at Brian Harding Construction. Located in the heart of Tuscaloosa, Brian Harding Construction is woman-owned and strong as steel. A specialty manufacturing firm with expertise in structural steel fabrication, ASME code piping and vessels, CNC machine work, welding, laser cutting, pipe fitting, industrial maintenance, and crane rentals. With a proven track record of over 30-plus years of experience, no one is better fit for the job. For an evaluation, contact Brian.
Google US Mobile. Just search for US Mobile. Just go to US Mobile subreddit and make a decision for yourself. If you're ready, visit usmobile.com.
Consumer Reports does not endorse products or services.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Here's your Tuscaloosa and West Alabama forecast. Sunny, dangerously hot here this afternoon, 95. Heat index values around 105. North winds light. Partly cloudy, muggy tonight, 74. Patchy fog developing late. Sunny, hot Friday, 95 with a chance of showers and storms. Storms are likely on Saturday with a high 90. Could see strong to severe storms with straight line winds and the potential for heavy rainfall on Saturday. This is meteorologist Richard DeWetting for Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
It's 92 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Did you miss any episode on Tide 100.9? Don't worry. All of our shows can be found on Spotify and Apple Music and on demand on the Tide 100.9 app.
And welcome back into this Thursday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Let's go ahead and dive into one of the main topics here today, Reed, and that is what could have been Nick Saban's greatest mistake, right? And this comes from Big Ten Media Days, which I'm sure you're wondering, well, how does that correlate? What's the deal there? Phenom wide receiver Jeremiah Smith, the big body bends up in Ohio, right? We all know him. He's largely believed to be probably the greatest wide receiver prospect in this upcoming NFL draft, a guy that they said probably could have been a first-round draft pick after his first year, his freshman year, where he helped lead Ohio State to a national championship. The guy almost is a reincarnation of Julio Jones. I know that's going really far here, but I'm trying to, build this whole story up. You get the point. I mean, the guy's like 6'3", 225. He runs like a deer. I mean, he's got every tool and trait imaginable. The guy looks like he was built in a lab, a creative player on Madden. I mean, this guy is like a can't-miss generational type of prospect in the eyes of many. Well, he was at the podium, Reed, and he was discussing things, and he got asked a question that really caught a lot of people's attention. And this is what he had to say. And I'm going to let him give this answer real quick, and we'll listen to him and respond. This is Jeremiah Smith at Big Ten Media's Day, and what led us to believe that Nick Saban might have made one big, big mistake while he still was at Alabama.
Was I looking at? I mean, growing up, my dream school was Alabama. When Nick Saban was there, they wasn't recruiting me though. So, I mean, it is what it is. But I always wanted to go to Bama growing up. Yeah, that was crazy. I mean, I always dreamed about going to Alabama because a lot of guys at that time from South Florida was going to Bama and having success, like Amari Cooper, Jerry Jeudy, Calvin Ridley, guys like that. Yeah, I got the offer. I think I committed to Ohio State too. That's why they stopped, and they thought it was no chance. So, yeah.
So there you have it, Reed. He said Alabama was always his dream school. He mentioned he's a South Florida kid, a guy that grew up right around Calvin, right? Jeudy, Amari Cooper. I mean, it seemed like all our great wide receivers were coming from South Florida at one point in time. Could you imagine if this young man did, in fact, make that decision to come to Tuscaloosa, or it ended up working out? And then in an alternate universe, right? Now, he mentioned Alabama was not recruiting him. Now, he did throw in at the end. Maybe it was because they thought there wasn't really a chance. He committed to Ohio State early. So he did. Let's be clear. Let's clear some things up. He did have He did have an Alabama offer, right? Maybe it was a little bit later than some of the other schools, which was not uncommon for Coach Saban. I've always told the story with me, right? I mean, they told me I was getting an offer on junior day. I come all the way down here. I don't get an offer. Like, they used to be a little bit, I wouldn't say delayed, but Alabama was a little bit more, they weren't as quick to just throw out offers, right? Like, other people might have been just throwing out a bunch of offers. Some of them might have been committable offers. Others might have just been, hey, we're just throwing this out there just to kind of, get on the board with this young man. I feel like Alabama's approach was a little bit different. And so I'm not shocked that Alabama wasn't the first to offer the young man. Am I shocked that they didn't give him a whole bunch of attention? Not necessarily. I mean, of course, geographically speaking, we know South Florida is a hotbed for recruiting. Like he mentioned, especially the wide receiver position, really all positions, but especially that one. But this is one thing I'll say, Reed. I know everybody's going to point to NIL. Everybody's going to point to all these things. You know, knowing Coach Saban, just kind of how he thinks, one thing people didn't really mention or haven't is that if you really look at Coach Saban's track record, outside of Julio Jones, he didn't recruit a whole bunch of bigger wide receivers. Think about it. Now, you had Tyrell Shavers. Like Derek Keefe, who was my roommate. There's like 6'5". Cam Sims, 6'3". I'm not saying he never did. But I think if you really dig deep, you'll realize they weren't always probably his main priorities at that position. At least that's something that I've always kind of felt like. He didn't really maybe see them in the same light, which that might shock people, knowing that Julio was like the first guy for him at that position. But if you really go through like all the recruiting rankings, I just feel like that never was a huge target. Did that have something to do with it? It potentially could have, but I wouldn't be shocked if there was really probably just a number of things that kind of went into this. There probably could have been a little bit of NIL that was sprinkled in there, right? Because his first year in college was 2024, right? So NIL was a thing. He committed to Ohio State early. We know Ohio State has the funds and resources to be able to pay these guys some good money. So I think there's probably a chance that it probably was a combination of factors here. I know I'm saying, hey, Coach Saban's greatest mistake. It's a little clickbaity. We're just talking, right? We're just having fun. Do I think it was his biggest mistake? Absolutely not. Would it have been crazy to have Ryan Coleman Williams and Jeremiah Smith coming in together in that same class? Would that have given Coach DeBoer a little bit extra firepower? Because remember, he would have gotten here and he wouldn't even have been able to play for Coach Saban. Who knows if he would even stayed in Tuscaloosa, because his teammate, Julian Sand, did just that, right? Remember, Julian Sand was here. He practiced during, the bowl practices. He was like the number 1 ranked quarterback. Coach Saban decided that he was going to hang up his whistle, not his cleats, but his whistle. And Julian Sand made the decision to transfer. I know a lot of people said, he was pushed out. I think there was probably a little bit of a combination. I mean, Coach DeBoer had their quarterback coming with them in Austin Mack. Maybe they didn't see Julian Sand in the same light. I guess we can look back maybe after this year and decide if that was kind of a dumb decision or not. I mean, because the guy is playing some really good football. I'm sure Austin Mack and we got Keelan Russell. It's going to work out fine, but you had that guy on campus. If he ends up, say, winning the Heisman, we might look back and be like, okay, well, probably shouldn't have just let him walk out the door that easy. That being said, Reed, what do you make of this? And some people are saying they're not even buying it like that. They're like, there's no way. I think there is a chance that Alabama just wasn't as high on him. I think they were high on him, but they might have they weren't going all out for him, given probably a number of factors. Maybe a little NIL, Ohio State in on him early, maybe from even not necessarily a fit thing, but like I mentioned, just the way they viewed him could have been a little bit different. What do you make of it, Reed?
Christian, it's the fact that I've seen this clip like 3 or 4 times, and watching yours, I actually saw the extended part of it, the last part. So now it actually kind of changed my opinion on things, because at first I was like completely not buying it. But then the fact that I hear him now say, he maybe committed to Ohio State early and they just stopped the late push, now that I can believe. Because what I've been hearing was not that part, and that they just didn't recruit him. And I'm like, that just could never be the case, because 24/7 Sports had him not the number 1 receiver, but the number 1 player in the class of 24. And I was like, there's just physically no way that they wouldn't recruit him. But now hearing the fact that he was saying, okay, maybe I committed to Ohio State early and then they just didn't want to push, that I could believe.
Well, I'm reading this. Andrew Bone had wrote something on this. And listen, he covers recruiting extensively. Now he's working with Alabama, but he had said that Alabama offered Smith shortly after his sophomore season, which was still almost 2 years before Nick Saban had retired. He didn't quite have the hype yet, but was a known player. Smith attended Alabama's camp that summer. He either didn't work out or chose not to run the 40, one or the other. The staff wanted to wait and evaluate his junior film before deciding if it would start to heavily pursue. Miami, Ohio State, and others have recruited him heavily for several months before Smith committed to the Buckeyes. shortly after his junior season. About a month or two later, Alabama found out that Ryan Coleman Williams was trying to reclassify and felt there was a good chance of it happening. Coach Saban wasn't too big on NIL, but understood it would probably take more than $50 to sign Ryan Williams. By then, all knew Smith was going for a very high price. Perhaps if they decided to pursue earlier, he would have committed. Not sure if he would have stayed that way even before Coach Saban retired. He had 7-figure offers from multiple schools late in the process. So like I mentioned, probably a little bit of a combination. Now, in terms of like the fit thing, like I said, I don't think that was like the driving factor. I just know, like, thinking on Coach Saban's personnel, I don't think he was. Some people see big receivers and like that's all they want, right? I just don't think that was always the case with him. But after hearing Andrew Bone break it down, who covered this whole thing, right, that whole recruiting process of all those guys that year very extensively, it makes sense, right? And kind of to my point, Alabama is a lot more patient, or they definitely were, right, when Coach Saban was here, in their evaluations, right? They weren't just going to throw offers around. They weren't going to throw money around like that. Like, they really wanted to keep up with guys and see kind of how things played out, right? And that sounds like it was the case here. Could that have, I guess, that patience cost them a guy like this? Maybe, but like Andrew Bone said, at that point, he had 7-figure offers. If you're planning on bringing in a guy like Ryan Coleman Williams, an in-state talent who reclassified, you probably had a little bit of a decision to make. Knowing Coach Saban and how he was with NIL, that would have been tough probably grabbing both of those guys, if we're just being honest here. So I think it makes sense, man. We got Brandon Clear, former wide receiver from Clemson, who just joined in. We'll have him on the other side of this break. We'll get his thoughts on this. Jeremiah Smith potentially landing in Tuscaloosa a few years ago, what that would have meant. Right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
From our home base in Birmingham, Alabama, we are here treating patients from every generation across the United States and from around the world. We're here for the rookies and the dreamers trying to make a name for themselves. We are here for the achievers
who are resilient
and won't take no for an answer. We're here for the coaches,
athletic trainers, and mentors who are shaping the next generation of legends. We are here for you,
aggressively pursuing victory over injury.
Learn more at andrewsportsmedicine.com.
Hey, it's Christian Miller, and I want to tell you about our great friends over at Brian Harding Construction. Located in the heart of Tuscaloosa, Brian Harding Construction is woman-owned and strong as steel, a specialty manufacturing firm with expertise in structural steel fabrication, ASME code piping and vessels, CNC machine work, welding, laser cutting, pipe fitting, industrial maintenance, and crane rentals. With a proven track record of over 30-plus years of experience, no one is better fit for the job. For an evaluation, contact Brian Harding Construction today at 205-752-9611. Again, that's Brian Harding Construction at 205-752-9611.
Coming up on The Game with Ryan Fowler.
Coming up on the Thursday edition of The Game, we'll talk to Rodney Orr, TiderInsider.com, as we are less than 1 week away from Alabama's football practice. Bobby Carpenter stops by to talk about the Big Ten and the SEC. SiriusXM college football analyst right here, starting at 2 p.m. on The Game on Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
The longest running sports talk show in Tuscaloosa. The Game with Ryan Fowler. Weekdays from 2 to 6 p.m. on Tide 100.9 and 1230 a.m. WTBC. And streaming worldwide on the free Tide app.
What does it mean to advertise and do your marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa? Melissa started her business in 2014. What would you say to someone considering Town Square Media Tuscaloosa?
My experience with Town Square Media has been awesome, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone. I think that this is the first time in my marketing experience that I've been able to see my return on investment. I would definitely say in the past that has not been the case. In this, I like knowing that that's 100%. A lot of the marketing we've done has been radio. You guys have so much more to offer than that, whether it's, websites, from targeted marketing to radio. You are kind of a one-stop shop, and it makes doing marketing so much easier. So I would definitely recommend it.
For more info on marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa, call 205-345-7200 or click on Advertise with Us on our website.
Your front row seat to all things Alabama. Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC, the home of Alabama Crimson Tide sports.
Thursday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. We're now joined by Brandon Clear, former Clemson wide receiver. We're talking about wide receivers. One of the best ones in college football said at Big Ten Media Days that, well, Alabama was my dream school, but they weren't really recruiting me like that. We listened to the clip, and clearly they recruited him. And then we got some more insight from Andrew Bone, who is the recruiting expert over at Alabama now. And he said, look, he did get an Alabama offer. He camped at Alabama. Now, he didn't participate in everything like the 40, but that was after his sophomore year. And then by the time his junior year concluded, I think he was already quickly on the rise on everybody's radar. Offers were flying off the charts. And by then, Alabama, who had the more patient approach, which they did with me and countless other guys, I think that was very, very common, right? It wasn't anything towards him. They wanted to see guys progress and kind of how they continue to develop. And ultimately, they knew at that point in time, it was probably Ohio State to beat, and they weren't probably trying to compete. Like you just also mentioned, knowing that you had an in-state guy in Ryan Williams, Mr. Football, all type of accolades who just reclassified. You mentioned Cam Coleman, too, another guy in-state. So, yeah, I think it makes plenty of sense why they didn't pursue him as heavily as some may have maybe assumed they would. But you also can't predict the future. And then, like you said, you basically said what I said. Even if you did get him here, would he have been around very long? He also made a comment, Brandon, that he turned down like a $10 million NIL offer. He ain't getting $10 million from Alabama. Now, he turned it down at Ohio State, but I'm also sure I'm pretty sure he's also making like $5 million. So that's, I guess Ryan was listed to make like 1.7. So he makes 3 times nearly what Ryan's making. I mean, it's just probably wasn't going to work out. But let me ask you this. Speaking of NIL, you think he's worth $5 million, whatever his number is? Jeremiah Smith, people You're a wide receiver, Brandon. People classify this guy as like a generational can't-miss type of prospect. They said he could have been a first-rounder as a true freshman, 6'3", 225. The dude runs like a deer. What do you think? Would you pay $5 million to have him on your roster?
I believe this is just business. You are what people are willing to pay you. If I had an organization and I was paying him coming out of high school, would I give him that amount? Absolutely not. Could he work into getting paid that amount? Yes. But we're going to have a talk about it because you can't tap into my salary cap. So that's where the Yay Alabamas and all of these NIL collectives come together to help you get additional funding. Something that was maybe missed by some fans. I don't know how many people saw that Nike signed about maybe 5 or 6 of our guys. Keelan Russell included in there. That's money. That's notoriety. That increases your brand. And so Alabama has those connections in that pipeline. Well, does Ohio State have it? Of course. But this is something you didn't know. Guess who Jeremiah Smith is actually signed with? Adidas. He's at a Nike school, right? Again, he got Adidas because Adidas had to come with the bag, noting that Nike's at a Nike school, the likelihood of him signing with Nike is high. So that gap or any type of money that he's getting, he can go ahead and compensate that and increase his value, which he earned. He's earned his value on the field. I would not pay any freshman over $1 million. No freshman over $1 million. That's just my boundary, because you are not just paying that player. You're bringing a player that you're paying into the fold, and you have to look those other guys that you already have that have been proven in their production on the field, why they're not making that amount. And you then have to almost bet that this guy is going to be successful, because if you go a year and that guy is not successful and you paid him to sit on that bench, Christian and Brandon are coming back around saying, hey, coach, remember I came to you? You said, hey, I'll take care of you. Don't worry about it. I know I'm paying this freshman more than you. This freshman sat. He wasn't ready to play. I am productive. Christian's productive. You got to pay to keep us, because now there's other schools coming. Yesterday's price, today's price is not yesterday's price. So you owe me money. So now you create these divisions within a program to where now you're holding the coach accountable. This Texas is going to run into this. When Sarkisian made that comment saying, oh, we had to let a couple guys go because, we had to bring in the talent. Be very careful when you take that approach, because you don't think now the guys that are there that have their starting roles, because one of the receivers they let go that went to Oklahoma, he was a starter. And they bring in Cam Coleman, and they say, yeah, we had to let block, and they were naming them. Had to let this guy go because, hey, we had to bring in Smothers. We had to bring in this guy. So these guys know that, coach is not loyal. He's only loyal to whatever is the best player coming in. So I need to be ready to go to him and say, I need more. And if you can't give me more, I'll leave. And so now you create this weird dynamic within your team that can disrupt the chemistry. So Texas is 2 losses away from their season being wrecked, in my opinion, because you bring in people that are there because you paid them, not because they love the university. Once you start doing that, you get a Florida State situation where you put all this time and effort to bring in all of these guys that have no relationships with Florida State. Well, as soon as that second loss happened, I was like, watch how bad this gets. Then it got bad. Texas is going, I'm telling you, they have a tough schedule. If they get to that second loss, if they feel as though it's slipping and they're not going to get to the playoffs, see how loyal those guys are that don't have any relationships there, to have no ties to Texas. Cam Coleman went to Texas. He has no ties to Texas. He doesn't have a passion for Texas. He has a passion for the money. He has a passion for the notoriety that comes from being at Texas, and he wants to be developed. If he feels any of those are being impacted, he's going to shut it down because there's no loyalty there. Money can only motivate you to a certain extent. You have to have other factors, and this is where I give Jeremiah Smith a lot of credit. I've heard him speak before. This guy's smart. He talks with a matter of factness. He understands what the end goals are. And don't get it twisted. He's a businessman. That's true. But he knows what his value is and what is going to be the best. So he turned down Miami because he thought Ohio State, things comparable, he was going to be developed. So these guys that are going to the highest bidder and going to every situation and not necessarily being the best place, they are going to cause a disruption in teams that will literally reverberate for years. Florida State is just getting out of the doldrums from a decision their coach made because he hit lightning in a bottle with that 1 year where he brought in a couple of guys that hit on the portal. And then the next year he tried to do it again, and he had lost all the talent because he did not go in to recruit and build relationships. He was trying to go ahead and salvage and do it and build it through the portal. And another person that you're going to see have this issue, gentleman right in LSU, Lane Kiffin. He's not a relationship builder. He's a taker. Takers are good when things are good. When things are going bad, watch how things turn. That's why he burns every bridge, because takers don't build relationships. They're worried always about the end goal. They're not worried about the process. And that's why Nick Saban and Lane Kiffin never got along, because he was short-sighted in everything he did, because he thought, I need to get this at the end. I got to get this promotion. I want this job. And he kept losing sight of what got him to that point. And when you do that, you make a comment about Ole Miss, and you start trying to almost jigger things away to where you're pulling players from a program that you left in destitute because you had a better opportunity. I'm telling you, don't follow people like that, man. They'll lead you down a pathway of isolation. You won't have the same success because they're not good leaders in the end, because they do not care about people. They care about themselves, number one. People that care about people are so focused on the process, they want you to do well. And that's why Nick Saban is one of the GOATs. He cared about people. He cared about the program. He feels vested into Alabama. And so when all things are said and done, no one's building any statues. I don't care how many championships Lane Kiffin wins, because he just burns bridges and burns the ground. So that's just my 2 cents.
You don't think they would, if he won, maybe not one, say Lane won 2 national championships at LSU, no statue built? Say he won 2 of them there, then the way he leaves is a little, I wouldn't say rocky, because I don't think it would be bad. I mean, if you win 2 national championships, I assume he's going to be there a long time. But let's say it might not be the smoothest exit, but he won 2 national championships. You still don't feel like they're going to show him that love just because of his history?
He'll never win 2 championships.
You don't think he has even? What about it? All right, what about 1? So you're not buying into him in Baton Rouge, even with all the resources he has.
He can win 1. Coach O won 1.
Yeah,
he barely speak. Won 1 championship. Was a
hey, but he exemplifies what you're explaining, though, because he's a Louisiana guy, right? I mean, you talk about passion. I mean, Cajun runs through his veins, right?
Absolutely, and he's a great coach.
Hey, he's a really good coach. Yeah, I mean, I think he's working on that staff in some capacity, if I'm remembering that right. Yeah. I think they brought him back to do some type of analyst role, or maybe some advisor role, which I think was smart as hell. Even because I think he was helping out with recruiting like that. That's what you need, right? You need people that understand the foundation of that place, right? Like, I get making it in your own image, but it is nice when you have history like that and roots to have those people. I think that's why it's probably, I know Coach DeBoer and staff, they're trying to make it their own, but I think it's still important to have some people around, right, that understand this place and the history of it. That way you don't just have a whole bunch of everybody's new and foreign, and they don't even truly understand it themselves. They're still trying to figure it out. Brandon, I want to ask you mentioned that nature of coaches and the way they run their programs. Who would you classify as doing it the right way? Or like what coaches, because you named pretty much half of the head coaches at elite programs. What coaches would you say?
Marcus Freeman, Notre Dame.
Okay.
Doing it the right way.
Okay.
I think Cristobal has elements of it, but he still teeters a bit. But he's relationships based, so I would actually give Cristobal that nod. Ryan Day, relationship based, very successful.
Yeah.
Look how long it takes for people to leave his staff because he treats them so well, and he has maintained those relationships after Tressel retired. He was able to stay and establish and build from that point, despite all the turmoil he had because he wasn't winning per se. But then guess who won a championship that then had to tuck tail? John Harbaugh. What happens in every place you go? Look, and I like John Harbaugh.
He also had a million scandals going on, it felt like.
Why does it always seem that those people that are focused on themselves and the end goal always burn things down? It just,
great point.
Like, you as a human being, man, this is a life lesson, and this is where I'm hoping young listeners take this in. When you follow people like the Joker and you have a short-sighted mind to get quick wins and all these things that you see, nothing good happens because chaos will eventually consume everything around that person. Do not follow chaos. Follow calm. It may take you longer to get to the point of where you need to go, but you'll enjoy the process, the journey. And then when you reach it, you'll see the value in actually establishing time and relationships within yourself to be able to get to that journey. You take the speedboat, it gets choppy. By the time you get off, what are you going to probably do? Throw up. And so that's what Lane Kiffin just throws up every place he goes. And he's like, all right, Christian, you clean it up. All right, now a new place. We're good. Let's everybody's happy. We're copacetic. You know, hey, Ole Miss is racist. I didn't know it was racist, but I was the entire time. That's the type of people that you don't want to be associated with, bro. Like, I'm being dead serious. Like, and I don't know Lane Kiffin. I observe. And the way he is, don't associate with Lane Kiffins. Don't associate with those chaos creators. They may seem appealing, but nothing good happens.
I mean, you're not wrong. You're definitely not wrong in that regard. Excuse me. You got a few more minutes, Brandon? I got to come back. All right, we're going to hit a timeout. We come back. I want to talk some Alabama football with you. We got training camp about a week away. I want to talk some of the major storylines, some things that you're expecting, wanting to see as we quickly approach that time of the year. Right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
From our home base in Birmingham, Alabama, we are here treating patients from every generation across the United States and from around the world. We're here for the rookies and the dreamers trying to make a name for themselves. We are here for the achievers
who are resilient
and won't take no for an answer. We're here for the coaches,
athletic trainers, and mentors who are shaping the
$1,500 in cash. This July, let freedom and fortune ring at Pearl River Resort. Must be 21 or older to play.
Do you have cracks or potholes that are dragging down your property's appeal? Hey, I'm Christian Miller, and at Asphalt Restoration, we transform driveways and parking lots with expert repairs, new paving, or resurfacing. Fast, durable, and family-owned quality that you can trust. Don't let small issues turn into big expenses. Call 205-393-91.
Make sure that we give that to them each and every time they come and visit us.
The sense of pride that we have in the quality, the consistency of our food carries over to everything we do in the stores. That's Taco Casa.
Hey, it's Christian Miller, and I wanted to tell you about our friends over at Lamparello Law, Education, and Advocacy. Founded by attorney and Professor Adam Lamparello, helping students at every level with mentoring, exam prep, applications, and career planning. Adam also represents students, faculty, and athletes in academic misconduct, First Amendment, NIL, and criminal defense cases. Known for real care and relentless advocacy. For guidance you can trust, call 201-317-5115 or visit lamparello-law.com. That's Lamparello Law, Education, and Advocacy. Proud partner.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Here's your Tuscaloosa and West Alabama forecast. Sunny, dangerously hot here this afternoon, 95. Heat index values around 105. North winds light. Partly cloudy, muggy tonight, 74. Patchy fog developing late. Sunny, hot Friday, 95 with a chance of showers and storms. Storms are likely on Saturday with a high 90. Could see strong to severe storms with straight line winds and the potential for heavy rainfall on Saturday. This is meteorologist Richard Wedding for Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
It's 95 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Breaking news, bold opinions, and pure Crimson Tide spirit. Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC.
The Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC. We got Brandon Clear, former Clemson wide receiver, who joins us every week here on the show, hanging out. Brandon, let's talk some Alabama football. Training camp right around the corner. Biggest storylines you're looking forward to hearing about, seeing a little bit maybe. I know they'll probably have one, maybe two media availabilities during camp, but what are you most looking forward to for training camp? Of course, quarterback battle. We know that. Outside of that, what do you want to see?
I would say O-line first and then running backs. Those are the two areas where I feel as though there are a ton of questions. You have a lot of newness there. I think a lot of pressure is being put on production from players that haven't necessarily had the opportunity to do it at that scale. And, when you have a young O-line and that's unproven, that first 2 to 3 weeks of the season, it can be a little tricky. They may be trying to maneuver things. One of the challenges that this team or this group and Kalen DeBoer had to kind of learn was when they were trying to find their O-line in that first season. And you remember that rotating right tackle, they were trying to figure that out. Booker was really the only established player that they had that they knew that this was locked in. He's consistent. He could flex if he needed to because Proctor was getting hurt. And so you just find this dynamic that can kind of get tricky because Saban was notorious for this. He always wanted to find the best five. So when he's building it and he's working and he's trying to find and navigate that, you have to have at least have an established center. That to me center is the most critical piece of it because that's your navigator on the O-line. That's the communicator. That's the person you have to trust. So once you have that, then obviously it has to be your left tackle. You build in everything else and you have to make sure that you have a scheme that fits those types of bodies that you have there. Caleb DeBoer was trying to take his scheme and fit it to bodies that weren't meant to run his preferred offense. And so he had to adjust. In his first year, I would have to give him a ton of credit. And I think people are overlooking this because they keep talking about the wins and losses. They say he had 4 losses last year. I was like, dude, that was in postseason play. Right. The regular season only had 2 losses. And so when the fans get up in arms about it, I'm just like, that's confusing to me. I'm just like, so what do you want him to do good enough to not have to compete in the postseason just to maybe make it into the playoffs? It's just weird to me. So that's one piece of it. And then running backs, I want to see a running back that can create. They believe Crowell could be that. A person that doesn't necessarily need the right blocking and happening in front of him, can set up blocks, knows how to run the schemes, can be an effective blocker. Doesn't have to be the best blocker, but effective blocker. And then working him into the fold as a freshman is very difficult. I've seen in my lifetime of being in football, there are very few freshmen that are coming in that have it all. Adrian Peterson was one of the rare. Reggie Bush was another one, rare. He didn't have it all either. He was just dynamic. So, they also had Lindell White. So when you start looking at it, what can I get out of Crowell and what's he's best suited for? And what can the older guys do in order to allow him time to develop? Because that's what I'm looking at. AK Deer is kind of lost in the shuffle, which I don't think is fair because last year he was a freshman and he falls into what I just said. Most freshman running backs need a year or two within a system to get comfortable. Then you start seeing, the benefits to being patient with them. Crowell is all of a sudden just graduating high school and he's a reclass and you're expecting him to come in and just be dominant day one. I want to be patient. I got to observe it. So I'm hoping when you get out there during summer, I want you to take a look and see how he looks, how comfortable he is. Does he have a confidence and swagger about him when he's getting in over there? What is the O-line and how does the O-line react to his running style? That's another thing people don't consider. O-line can get tired of a dude that's a jitterbug that's just always not going into the holes that they're setting up. So is he setting up? Yes, but is he also being patient and allowing the blocks to set up? Those are the types of things that O-line have to trust the running back as well. And then obviously you got your quarterback play. I'm not worried because I think you're going to get a serviceable quarterback regardless of what option you go with. But Keelan Russell has the higher ceiling, so I'm not really concerned about that. I think that this group as a whole has the looks of the 2021 team minus a Brian Robinson who waited his time and was mature and was ready to go to be the bell cow. But you remember they didn't have a lot behind him that year. It was barren. And, Sanders was coming back from a serious injury, and it seemed like he was a little uncomfortable in certain instances, so they didn't have a lot of confidence in him during the season. So Brian Robinson just had to carry all the load, and he was dealing with a lingering injury. So I think O-line and running backs is where we got to really focus.
Yeah, no, it's definitely going to be where my attention is. And really, you're watching one side of the trenches, you get to see the other, which is a benefit because I'm curious about defensive line, who's going to emerge. I like the depth there. There's a lot of good players, but I'm just curious who's going to be the guys that really separate themselves from the pack, right, and show that, hey, we can be those dudes, because that's what I think we need up front, some dudes, right, some playmakers that really set the tone. And, of course, linebacker play, I want to keep seeing those guys a little bit more, getting more, I guess, looks, because it feels like Caleb Woodson and then QB Reese or Luke Metz or C.J. Jones who can separate themselves that way. There's a lot of, opportunities for guys to separate themselves. And that's always big when it comes to training camp, because especially when you got competitions like these, I feel like it makes everybody that much better. And I think in turn, it's going to make the team better. Brandon, before we let you go real quick, Smitty dropped the super chat here. He said, have you played for Bama or Georgia? How appealing is their method of retaining players? Brandon posted up at the
That is a great one, Smitty. I would honestly say that retention of players and the relationships is more important to me. So if I were coming out because of I come from the leisure and the ability to be able to make this decision. I'm not driven by money. So me, it's the experience, the connection, and if I'm going to be developed, it's going to be the main driver. The money will come after that. I'm not driven by money. So money-driven people are always short-sighted. I always see long-term goals to be the focus. So the process that Bama and Georgia have instilled is the reason why they've been consistently dominant. And these newer teams don't understand that, and they just throw money at a problem. Money will get sucked up, and you'll end up like Texas A&M. Just watch it. I'm calling a spade a spade. Texas and that oil money, you can have all the money in the world, man. There's a reason why Jerry Jones is always losing. He's because you want to be the show pony. You lose. I'm just, hey, man, where are they winning at? That's where I'm going. Ohio State. Sure. They got money over there, though. Don't get it twisted.
I was about to say, I think it ends up going to whoever is the best balance. Like you're saying, like Ohio State is one of those teams, in my opinion. Like, I just know nowadays, and you got to find the mature kid that will give you that right answer. Because the reality is, most of them are just going to say, man, I'm not worried about who's staying. I'm worried about who's paying. You know what I mean? But the right kids will have the attitude you're talking about, Brandon.
Just tell them to watch Any Given Sunday. That's it. or the program, whatever you want to watch. One of the movies, man, you'll learn the money is not all great, and it has to be bigger than that, because you will literally burn yourself out if you just driven by money, especially in football. Listen to Christian, he walking around, his back hurting mouth. You know what I'm saying? What about the money, bro? Was it worth it?
That's debatable at times. It's definitely debatable at times. No, it definitely, I was afforded many opportunities, man. I'm definitely grateful for it. But it definitely comes at a cost. There's no doubt about that. Brandon, we appreciate you as always, man. Look forward to doing it again soon, man.
Absolutely. Miller's Edge family, thank y'all. Christian, I'll talk to you on the flip side, brother.
Yes, sir. Sounds good, brother.
Bye.
Yes, sir. Later. Good deal. We got Adam Lamparello coming up next right here on this Thursday edition of the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
WTBC Tuscaloosa and W265CG Tuscaloosa, a Town Square media station. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Brianna Murrow.
We are about less than a week away from the MLB trade deadline, but the Rangers made a move. They are acquiring right-handed reliever Chase Silseth and catcher Logan O'Hoppe from the Angels. The Braves shut out the Mets 1-0. The Blue Jays defeated the Nationals 5-2. The Padres defeated the Rockies 3-1 for their fifth straight win. San Diego has moved to 2 games behind the Phillies for the final NL wildcard spot. The Rays blanked the Rangers 3-0. The Guardians beat the Reds 6-1. And the Dodgers took down the Mariners 4-2. The Red Sox beat the Athletics 4-2 in extra innings. News out of the NFL as 49ers wide receiver Ricky Pearsall did not participate in practice on Wednesday due to some swelling in his right knee related to that injury that held him out last season. And Saints utility man Taysom Hill has announced on social media he will not return to the Saints after 9 seasons with the team.
Coming up on The Game with Ryan Fowler.
Coming up on the Thursday edition of The Game, we'll talk to Rodney Orr, TiderInsider.com, as we are less than 1 week away from Alabama's football practice. Bobby Carpenter stops by to talk about the Big Ten and the SEC. SiriusXM college football analyst right here starting at 2 p.m. on The Game on Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
The longest-running sports talk show in Tuscaloosa. The Game with Ryan Fowler. Weekdays from 2 to 6 p.m. on Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. WTBC. And streaming worldwide on the free Tide app.
What does it mean to advertise and do your marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa? Melissa started her business in 2014. What would you say to someone considering Town Square Media Tuscaloosa?
My experience with Town Square Media has been awesome, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone. I think that this is the first time in my marketing experience that I've been able to see my return on investment. I would definitely say in the past that has not been the case. In this, I like knowing that that's 100%. A lot of the marketing we've done has been radio. You guys have so much more to offer than that, whether it's, websites, from targeted marketing to radio. You are kind of a one-stop shop, and it makes doing marketing so much easier. So I would definitely recommend it.
For more info on marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa, call 205-345-7200 or click on Advertise with Us on our website.
It's time for the Miller's Edge with 4-time SEC champion and 2-time national champion Christian Miller.
Once again with Christian Miller taking him down.
Here's college football playoff national champion Christian Miller on Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. WTBC.
Into this Thursday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. We're now joined by Mr. Adam Lamparello of Lamparello Law Education and Advocacy. Of course, Lamparello-law.com is the website. You can go schedule yourself a free consultation, talk with Adam, learn about all the things that they're offering outside of just that criminal defense representation. Of course, academic issues like misconduct, NIL, and all the services for high school, college, and graduate students. All that and more on their website, Lamparello-law.com. Adam, good Thursday to you. Welcome in.
Thanks a lot, Christian. Great to be here.
Always, man. Always a pleasure to have you on here. Adam, we got a few things that we got to talk about. Of course, training camp around the corner, so we'll talk plenty about that. But I do want to ask you about some of these latest. Well, let me start here because it's something we didn't mention, and I don't know if you got a chance to see this. It's about the NCAA and them, I guess, imposing some disciplinary action on a Tennessee volunteer player. I'll start there real quick because we haven't even mentioned it on the show. This is just kind of just throwing me off because we've talked so much, right? We get your expertise on the matters, especially when it comes to all the legal side of things. And we've been talking the past few months, Adam, about the NCAA basically being powerless. Now we have a situation where they basically had nothing to say. Well, I guess it finally ended up due to pressure, the Sorsby situation, but hands were tied behind their backs. You got a whole situation of a guy gambling. It seemed like they had no power with that and all the other countless situations. But then you have Tennessee linebacker Arian Carter, who had a $427 flight paid for an NFL pre-draft training facility. I think he initially was maybe he was going to go out for the draft, trying to figure things out, whatever the case might have been. I want to say he even paid the money back, but now they're trying to impose, or they have imposed, a 2-game suspension. After all we've heard, Adam, from all the injunctions and all the court hearings, everything, they decide to try to take their power back with something like this. What do you make of this from like a legal perspective? I mean, like what could this signal if they're trying to go back to these kind of cases, which we know were always big in the past, but it seemed like for a while they had no power over anything, and now they've imposed a 2-game suspension over a flight that the guy repaid. I mean, what do you make of this?
I think it's utterly ridiculous, and it shows how powerless and how petty they are. Given all the problems facing college football, the fact that Bryce Underwood's getting $12 million a year before he steps on the field, NIL has gotten out of control. You got Sorsby sitting at the slot machine praying for the next jackpot. And now you have this gentleman from Tennessee who takes a $427 flight. Who cares? I mean, that's the last thing. On the list of 500 things that they need to worry about, that's like 493. And so the fact that they are doing this suggests there is very poor leadership there, and that they really don't have any direction or any solution to any of the problems facing college football. Now, as a legal matter, he's going to pay the fine and take the suspension. I don't see a lawyer getting involved in taking this into a major litigation, but it's a disproportionate penalty. And given the fact that these players are making millions of dollars through NIL, which was never intended by the Supreme Court's decision in NCAA versus Alston, that's like telling someone who robs you, can you give me back one of my used shirts? I mean, it's like you're not attacking the problem. You're going at the edges and nitpicking some nonsense. So shame on the NCAA, and I hope that gentleman has safe flight. And I'm glad he paid back the money, but he should not be suspended for 2 games.
Yeah, and I'm reading the details just to clarify, make sure I'm right. He repaid the $427 cost of the flight, terminated his agreement with the agent after roughly 1 month, and withdrew from the NFL draft before the deadline after he suffered an injury. And, yeah, he ended up making his way back to Tennessee. So I think the young man was trying to do things the right way, right? It's not... Yeah, he was intending on leaving, right? I mean, and then just things came up. He ended up coming back to school. To me, it's like you said, it almost feels like they're trying to pick something petty to maybe, I don't know, maybe try to reestablish some type of power. It's just weird to me.
That's like losing $1 million in the slot machines and then celebrating when you win $25. I mean, it's ridiculous. And I got to tell you, the person who paid for his flight should be ashamed too, because that $427 tells me that he was flying in coach. If you've got a star Tennessee player, you put him in first. So I think that's what the problem is. I'm just saying.
Let me ask you about another thing that's come up in really just yesterday, Big Ten Media Days. We're talking about this earlier, Adam. Jeremiah Smith, arguably the greatest wide receiver in college football currently, had a quote that really took headlines by storm. He said he wanted to come to Alabama, but they didn't really recruit him. Andrew Bone had laid out some details, covering recruiting at that moment in time. Alabama did offer him, was maybe a little bit later because they wanted to see how he developed, I think, his junior year, but he did come in camp at Alabama. Ohio State and a couple others probably got their foot in the door a little early. Maybe the patience might have costed Alabama in that recruitment. But remember, Ryan Coleman-Williams also reclassified, ended up being in that 2024 class that season. Coach Saban, he ended up retiring after 23, right? So Jeremiah Smith wouldn't even have been able to play for Coach Saban. I think even if he had come to Alabama, it would have been a very similar situation to Julian Sand, here one day, gone the next, after Coach Saban retired. I was kind of, hyping it up for the show today, right? Was it Coach Saban's biggest mistake? Clearly it's not. But what do you make of this? Do you think it was, how big of a what if do you believe this is with Jeremiah Smith? Because to be fair, in 2024, they probably could have used, a guy like Jeremiah Smith in the fold in that wide receiver room. Remember, Ryan Coleman-Williams at 17 was like the guy. I think he still had Jeremy Bernard that year and, a couple other guys, but they probably could have utilized a talent like that. Could it have maybe helped them win one more game or so? I think I heard J.D. Piquel kind of say that, hey, I think he was good for at least 7 points, and that was like the margin of I guess, loss that they had in a couple of those games. Could he have been a defining factor in that season? I'm sure he would have helped out. How big of a what if do you think this really is?
I don't make too much of it. Jeremiah Smith was quoted as saying, Alabama was my dream school. Really? Well, you could have gone to Alabama. You could have gone there, Jeremiah, but you didn't go there. So he says it like, it was my dream school, but, it just didn't work. Well, you chose to go to Ohio State probably because they gave you more money. I suspect that Alabama probably did recruit him. They did offer him, but it wasn't close to what maybe he was getting at Ohio State. Now, would it have made a difference? Yes, it would have made a difference. Would it have made a big enough difference such that they would have won the national championship? I don't think so. So I ultimately think it's really not that big of a story, but I was just taken aback by his lamenting that, Alabama was my dream school. Well, they didn't reject you. You could have gone there. No, I don't like to look back into the past and second guess. I'm sure Coach Saban tried to recruit him. I suspect he went for more money. That's his choice. But ultimately, I don't think we win a national title with him.
Well, I'll give you an example with myself, right? I was late with an Alabama. Alabama was later to offer me. I ended up committing to Florida. Alabama continued to pursue me, and I ended up at Alabama. So, it could have been the same thing. He committed to Ohio State. Like you said, if he really wanted to come here, he could have come here, right? Now, he probably would have taken, he would have taken a pay cut. Not probably, he would have taken a pay cut because we know at that point in time, his offers were just through the roof. And I'm sure Ohio State was paying him handsomely. I think currently, the last time I looked on On3 when we were looking at some of these values, I want to say he was listed at $5 million, which even more wild is that he mentioned that he turned down a $10 million offer to enter the transfer portal. Which I'll be honest with you, Adam, I don't know if I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around a $10 million offer because $6.5 million is currently what I believe is the highest, I guess, NIL deal currently. Yeah, matter of fact, I have it pulled up right here. There's a green check mark for $5 million for Jeremiah Smith. So that is how much he is making this year. He claims he was offered $10 million to transfer. The number one players, like I just mentioned, that $6.5 million. So you're telling me there was a school that offered him $3.5 million more to join their roster. I'm not saying it's cap, but $10 million, like if it was a multi-year deal, maybe because he clearly, he still would have another year, actually 3 more years with the 5-5. He already said, I think he confirmed yesterday that this is going to be his last season. So I think it would have been a 1-year deal. Are you guys buying a $10 million deal? He's great. He's great. But $10 million, $3.5 million more than the highest current deal known at $6.5 million. Are you guys buying it?
Well, his draft stock, in my mind, has just plummeted because I have questions about his judgment. First, he says Alabama is my dream school. I wanted to go to Alabama. Doesn't go. Then he gets an offer for $10 million, and he turns it down, double what he's making now. That's 2 strikes. That's 2. 1 more.
You don't give him credit for that, Adam. You don't look at it like, well, hey, this guy, he stayed committed even though he was offered double the money.
There's a limit to principle. You got to have your principle. But that's double the money. I'm just saying. He's set for
I hear. No, listen. I hear what you're saying. Listen, the Pastor Payne just jumped on it. Oh wait, did he just disappear? He did jump on here, then he disappeared. He'll do. I wanted to get his thoughts on this because I have a feeling he's probably going to be in line with probably what you're saying. I respect staying committed to the school and the process and the relationships you built, but another $5 million, like you just said, like $10 million, if you manage it right, we're talking. Definitely. $5 million is with 100% life-changing. $10 million in one season. But then again, the guy is expected to probably be a top 5 pick in the NFL draft. Maybe he views it as, what's that $5 million if I plan on, signing bonus for a top 5 pick? Picks 1 and 2, I think were around, what is signing bonus, like 30 something?
Yeah.
So I would imagine he's probably expecting, let's say, $22 million plus as a signing bonus, just a signing bonus in less than a year, about 9 months from now, whatever the time frame is. Pastor Payne just joined us before we hit this time out. What do you think about Jeremiah Smith claiming that he turned down a $10 million offer to enter the transfer portal?
Lies.
So you call cap on this one?
Straight up cap. Capital. What is cap? CAP or KAP? Whatever that is. Cap. It's cap. Because first of all, you want to tell me someone offered you that kind of money And he gonna stay there? Come on, please. And
probably was Miami too. At that, like he's from that South Florida area. We know how much money they pay. I wouldn't be shocked if it was Miami, and that makes me think even more that he probably should have at least considered that. I mean, maybe he just didn't want to go home, but I would think if someone offered you $5 million more on top of the $5 million you're already making to go back to the crib to play in front of your family, I'm sure he probably grew up watching the U a little bit. That is a little questionable. I do agree.
I mean, this type of money is ridiculous. I mean, if you are spending this type of cheese, that should come with a guaranteed natty, or else it's a waste of money. I mean,
they didn't make it to it. They made the trip there.
It's stupid. It's just absolutely stupid what we're talking about.
Miami. I'm sorry. They made it to national.
Yeah, but if you're spending this kind of money and you can't get a natty from it, get out of here.
But I mean, like I said, Miami made it there. Granted, they almost didn't get in the playoffs, but I'm saying there's at least some type of, return on investment, at least from their end. Ohio State won one a couple years ago. So, I think there is a little bit of a correlation. I'm just saying there's a little bit of a correlation.
Correlation, all that sounds good. But
no, I'm saying with how much money you're spending.
One team takes home the trophy that matters.
Right.
The other team take home a bunch of tears. Okay? Whether you get there or not. I'd ask all my guys from Buffalo, those 4 straight years, that's a very amazing feat. 4 years, you go to the dance. A lot of fun, a lot of pageantry, a lot of theatrics. And you lose and watch another team get confetti rain down on them. You go home with like Greg Lord. He said, man, I got a couple of AFC championship rings. Where they at, Greg? In my drawer.
I didn't even know they did rings for that.
Yeah, they get a ring for AFC champions, NFC champions.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and they don't wear them because it's embarrassing. Hey, what you got in your ring, dog? Oh, we AFC champ. Who beat y'all? That means you lost. You ain't got the Super Bowl. That means you lost, and you're gonna talk about the losing more than you winning the AFC championship. So, if you're not first, you're last. Point blank. And if you get that kind of cheese, you better bring me a natty. Point blank. End of the story.
Well, I got to bring you a commercial break, and when we come back, we'll keep talking about this and more right here on this Thursday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC. Do you have cracks or potholes that are dragging down your property's appeal? Hey, I'm Christian Miller, and at Asphalt Restoration, we transform driveways and parking lots with expert repairs, new paving, or resurfacing. Fast, durable, and family-owned quality that you can trust. Don't let small issues turn into big expenses. Call 205-393-91.
High-quality ingredients. We want to say, that sounds great. We've been doing that since 1974.
Under the biggest cactus in town, Taco Casa.
From our home base in Birmingham, Alabama, we are here treating patients from every generation across the United States and from around the world. We're here for the rookies and the dreamers, trying to make a name for themselves. We are here for the achievers,
who are resilient
and won't take no for an answer. We're here for the coaches,
athletic trainers, and mentors who are shaping the next generation of legends. We are here for you,
aggressively pursuing victory over injury. Learn more at andrewsportsmedicine.com.
Hey, it's Christian Miller, and I want to tell you about our great friends over at Brian Harding Construction. Located in the heart of Tuscaloosa, Brian Harding Construction is woman-owned and strong as steel, a specialty manufacturing firm with expertise in structural steel fabrication, ASME code piping and vessels, CNC machine work, welding, laser cutting, pipe fitting, industrial maintenance, and crane rentals. With a proven track record of over 30-plus years of experience, no one is better fit for the job. For an evaluation, contact Brian Harding Construction today at 205-752-9611. Again, that's Brian Harding Construction at 205-752-9611.
What does it mean to advertise and do your marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa? Melissa started her business in 2014. What would you say to someone considering Town Square Media Tuscaloosa?
My experience with Town Square Media has been awesome, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone. I think that this is the first time in my marketing experience that I've been able to see my return on investment. I would definitely say in the past that has not been the case. In this, I like knowing that that's 100%. A lot of the marketing we've done has been radio. You guys have so much more to offer than that, whether it's, websites, from targeted marketing to radio. You are kind of a one-stop shop, and it makes doing marketing so much easier. So I would definitely recommend it.
For more info on marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa, call 205-345-7200 or click on Advertise with Us on our website.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Here's your Tuscaloosa and West Alabama forecast. Sunny, dangerously hot here this afternoon, 95. Heat index values around 105. North winds light. Partly cloudy, muggy tonight, 74. Patchy fog developing late. Sunny, hot Friday, 95 with a chance of showers and storms. Storms are likely on Saturday with a high 90. Could see strong to severe storms with straight line winds and the potential for heavy rainfall on Saturday. This is meteorologist Richard Wedding for Town Square Media Tuscaloosa.
It's 94 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Roll Tide all the time. This is Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. WTBC, the home of Alabama Crimson Tide sports.
Edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230. WTBC, we're joined by Adam Lamparello of Lamparello Law Education Advocacy. Check the website out today, lamparello-law.com, to get all of your questions answered. If you have any questions about how they can help you, affordable pricing, really important stuff, man. Make sure you guys check them out. Let them fight for you and help you out if you got high school, college, or graduate students looking for exam and test taking preparation, subject matter mastery. The list goes on. And the YouTube channel, free legal advice, Lamparello Law on YouTube as well. Make sure you guys check that out. Adam, there's some updates with the Protect College Sports Act. It sounds like the Big Ten and the SEC have had some influence on some of these latest changes. I don't know how much you've gotten to look into that. Maybe some of the new, pieces to it. If you have had a chance, do you have any thoughts on that? And then also just this whole process, like seeing that they're willing to go back and make changes because of the Big Ten and the SEC kind of, puffing up their chest and saying, hey, we're not going for this version of it. What does that kind of signal? I mean, does that give you confidence that the final version of this will be a full, complete bill that really can help college athletics, given that they're in a position to make some of these changes? They're willing to listen. Kind of where are you at with this Protect College Sports Act with some of the latest that we've seen in the most recent updates to it?
I think that it's going to get watered down through compromise, and I think it's not going to go nearly far enough as it has to. What we really need to change in college football, in my humble opinion, is we need to ban collectives completely. When the Supreme Court decided NCAA versus Alston, the idea was that players could make money. Like if you go to Tuscaloosa and, I don't know, the local McDonald's wants you to do commercials for them, you can do that. It was never intended to be this, millions and millions of dollars in collectives giving $12 million to Bryce Underwood or $6 million to Carson Beck to go to Miami. It's been totally distorted, and it doesn't address that effectively. And it's going to continue, unfortunately. So that, I think, is the major problem. And until that is solved, you're going to have the Texases of the world, and you're going to have the Michigans, and you're going to have the Ohio States buying championships or buying players. And I think college football has been fundamentally affected. But more importantly to me is I always saw college football as a great way to help young people develop the values to be great citizens, hard work, perseverance, toughness. These kids are worried about focusing on money so much, which understandably so because it's allowed. But are we developing people to be great, to have great lives and to be good citizens and emphasize the real true value of football? No, I don't think we are. And I think you see it in college football with people transferring to get more money and whatnot. It's like, sit away. And then maybe you'll understand what it means to overcome adversity. And it really upsets me. Like, I'm old school, and our society and our football has become soft, and I don't like it.
This is one thing that I have concerns with. Oh, no, that's perfect. No, this is one thing I have concerns with, Adam, is where I think it makes sense. They have the retention pool, right, where you can use money to retain your players. You're talking about guys sitting their tails down and buying in the process. I mean, that would help encourage that, right, because you've got money that you can allocate towards your current roster. That way they aren't transferring a whole bunch. Then you also still have the revenue share, but that would put you like $46 million more or less that you can pay student athletes. But there's also something where they don't have to prove that these NIL deals are quote unquote fair. It almost just feels like the conferences are kind of bullying this bill into, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's like on one end, it seems like it's giving these schools more freedom or maintaining that freedom. But at the same time, I just feel kind of like what you're saying. I don't know if it's going to be enough to really enforce these things enough. I don't know. That's just kind of the vibe that I'm getting.
I've never heard of a high school player in my life getting $1 million without ever playing it down. Ridiculous.
Don't get him started, Adam. He
Praise God. I'm just listening. I'm just drinking my coffee, taking my meds.
Russell, with all due respect to Keelan Russell, he's making $1 million right now. He hasn't gotten hit since like 1992. And
that's what I'm talking about.
I mean, and then they talk about, in the A-Day game, he threw this beautiful pass to Cedarian Morgan. Well, sure, he threw a beautiful pass. He wasn't going to get hit. I mean, and the I'm going to go to Alabama. I want him to have money.
You get the $1 million for throwing a tight spiral seam route in practice? I mean, and we get, oh, boy, look at him. Oh, baby, my baby got a good arm. Listen.
What about investment, though? What about investment, though? No, I'm saying, but hear me out.
Listen, you're a market guy. I'm not going out there and putting all my eggs in a basket of some new commodity that's come. No. I'm not doing it. I might throw a little bit over there. I might throw 10 stacks. I'm not putting a mill. I mean, if I got 10 stacks and it fails, I'm good with it, right? I'm taking a little bit of a risk. I minimize my risk. You like to hear this, and when you talk about the stock market and all this financial analysis, right? You talk about, minimizing the risk. Oh, I talk like I know something. But here's my thing. You're risking an 18-year-old kid that hasn't done anything but look good on YouTube tapes and huddle videos and in a high school where you're playing against dudes that are mostly terrible. Let's just be honest about it, right? I can be excited about potential. And so, therefore, I invest in him, and I say, hey, I want you to come to State University. I want to invest in you. But listen, you got to prove. If you do what we think you can do, here's what I got for you. I have an incentive package that is so stout that, bro, I want you to go. I want to give you all of this money. I want to get all of this bag, right? But you got to earn it. And that's the way it should be for all these kids.
So what's your solution, though? I'm saying, because, listen, right now, the system is a system. So I hear what both of you guys are saying. I'm the same way. I would not want to overinvest in people that aren't.
Every kid get it's like NFL. Here is. Okay, let's
basically just a rookie cap. You want a rookie cap?
Yeah, if you're a rookie cap, you got a sophomore cap. It was like this in the league. Every year you played, here's a veteran minimum, right? Here's a rookie minimum. If you're a veteran, here's your minimum, right? Here's your rookie. Here is your minimum. Now, but I can put anything I want to as far as the incentive package, right? Because I want you to stay hungry and thirsty, just like the Holy Scripture say, those that are hungry and thirsty for righteousness, you shall be filled. And if you're hungry, if you're thirsty for more than they're making plays and touchdowns and get that incentive package, your bank account shall be filled. Come on, somebody. That's what I'm saying. If you do that, give them enough money to pay their apartment, to pay their little charger car payment or whatever they got, and, give mother a little money for some electric and some water bills and whatever. Give them a little cushion, but make their incentive package so big that they want to stay at their school and they want to work their tail off to earn that bag. That's what needs to happen. And if you do that, that'll stop all this transferring. Guys will be committed to the school. They'll be committed to the brand. And they will continue to love the game of football. Right now, you said, oh, you were so great in high school, I want to give you $1 million. I'm going to give you $2 million. Oh, they'll give you $3 million, I'll give you 4.5. And you start fighting over these kids, they get all of this money. What desire? We talk about all these college athletes here. I got it for you, folks. America, listen to the pastor. We got a bunch of college trust fund babies. We got a bunch of trust fund babies. They're never going to work hard. They just going to wait for mom and daddy to die, and they get all the inheritance. That's what's happening in college football. They said they ain't got to wait for nobody to die. They just wait on them to put that money in the bank. Direct deposit. A bunch of college football trust fund babies, and that's why the brand sucks right now.
And don't give any money to Sorsby because he'll lose it on the slots.
Well, that too.
We got to hit a timeout.
Beautiful. I agree with that 100%.
No, listen, it definitely would be very beneficial to have those caps, but I don't see them doing that. I just see that leading to more losses.
Well, you asked me what they should do. Make me the commissioner.
I
wouldn't be up there like Nick Saban and all them. Like, listen, they get mad to all the players leaving, but coaches leave all the time. Coaches get all their bags and leave. So I think stipulation should be for everybody. Right? Coaches go chase the bag. They chase the bag too. Lane Kiffin chased the bag. Right? So I get what they're saying, but my point is they got to be limitations. I know you got to go to the break because I hear the music and I heard it for a long time.
There you go.
They got to daggum love football again. Right now they don't love football like they used to.
I agree. To an extent. I think some guys do, but a lot of them don't. All right, we got to hit the timeout. We come back and keep on rolling right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC. Do you have cracks or potholes that are dragging down your property's appeal? Hey, I'm Christian Miller, and at Asphalt Restoration, we transform driveways and parking lots with expert repairs, new paving, or resurfacing. Fast, durable, and family-owned quality that you can trust. Don't let small issues turn into big expenses. Call 205-393-9149 for your free estimate today. That's 205-393-9149. Asphalt Restoration, where smooth roads start. Roll Tide.
From our home base in Birmingham, Alabama, we are here treating patients from every generation across the United States and from around the world. We're here for the rookies and the dreamers, trying to make a name for themselves. We're here for the achievers,
who are resilient
and won't take no for an answer. We're here for the coaches,
athletic trainers, and mentors.
Get your life back, baby. Stephen Mezrano, Alabama Injury Lawyers. Mez wins.
Hey, it's Christian Miller, and I wanted to tell you about our friends over at Lamparello Law, Education and Advocacy. Founded by attorney and Professor Adam Lamparello, helping students at every level with mentoring, exam prep, applications, and career planning. Adam also represents students, faculty, and athletes in academic misconduct, First Amendment, NIL, and criminal defense cases. Known for real care and relentless advocacy. For guidance you can trust, call 201-317-5115 or visit lamparello-law.com. That's Lamparello Law, Education and Advocacy.
What does it mean to advertise and do your marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa? Melissa started her business in 2014. What would you say to someone considering Town Square Media Tuscaloosa?
My experience with Town Square Media has been awesome, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone. I think that this is the first time in my marketing experience that I've been able to see my return on investment. I would definitely say in the past that has not been the case. In this, I like knowing that that's 100%. A lot of the marketing we've done has been radio. You guys have so much more to offer than that, whether it's, websites from targeted marketing to radio. You are kind of a one-stop shop, and it makes doing marketing so much easier. So I would definitely recommend it.
For more info on marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa, call 205-345-7200 or click on Advertise with Us on our website.
Stay locked in, Tide fans. This is Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC, the home of Alabama Crimson Tide sports.
Into this Thursday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Let's talk a little Alabama football with training camp coming up right around the corner. Adam, we got the Pastor Payne as well. I've been asking this to everybody pretty much last 2 days. What are you most looking forward to with training camp kicking off in Tuscaloosa next week, right? You got the quarterback battle, a lot of new faces on the offensive line. We know the running game was non-existent last year. Some new young players in the running back room, some returning players that could maybe take some next steps. Linebacker unit is totally brand new. Defensive line has some really good potential, but just trying to see how that kind of shakes out. What are you guys looking most forward to, and what are y'all's biggest, what do I say? Like what does Alabama need to get, coming out of training camp? What do you think needs to be done for them to go into the season, for you to feel confident in week one?
Corey, you want to go or you want me to go?
No, you answer. You the guest. You go.
I want to see this team have a new personality. Physicality is their identity. And I want to see them win in the trenches, and I want them to show that on the field because there are going to be a lot of close games this year. And I want to see our brand be that of physicality and toughness. My biggest concern is the quarterbacks, because as talented as they may be, they have not played in any sustained SEC action. They haven't gotten hit. So I'm not so sure that the quarterbacks are going to be, like Mac, like Tua, like Jalen. That's my concern.
I think your concern is fair. When I look at camp, as a reporter, as a media guy, served there before in that capacity, you go in and you kind of write down concerned or, what you're looking for, like what Christian's asking of us right now. Of course, you said it. I mean, the number one thing is the quarterbacks. That's going to be a focus. Who's winning that battle? Who's getting the most reps, who's with the first team. I can already tell you the storylines that your local media are going to have in their websites and on the news. I mean, so got he's with the first team, blah, 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 blah. We're going to hear all these things leading up to the regular season. But that is a battle that everybody from local to national is going to be watching. My thing would be about the running game. I think the next thing is the offensive line and running game. I mean, it's all tied together. You got backs that's got a little bit of experience, but the offensive line, question marks there, the lack of physicality, the lack of moving the line of scrimmage has been a problem for this football team. Physicality, we call them soft. I did, at least. I can't say we, but that was me. They have done nothing to make me change my mind about their physicality. So I'm looking at that. What is Ryan Grubb going to do this offense? Will it be something different? Will it be run focused? Will it be a pass happy offense? Which I don't think so, because you got an experience now at the tackle positions. So I don't know. There's for me, more questions are going to be about the offense than the defense. I think the defense is going to do okay. They got players coming back now. The front is going to be the question. What can they do from a pass rushing standpoint? You know, these edge guys, will they be able to get off the field on third down? That's going to be the big issue for this football team. You know, will they be able to give this offense numerous opportunities to get out there and do some great things? So, the offensive line is a massive question mark for me because they've been just basically average, not above average. They've been average the last few years. So they got a lot of questions, man. I mean, and that's why a lot of people are not really high on this football team. When you don't have a trigger man that's competent, that's why I'm shocked they didn't go out and at least get somebody that has played, even from a smaller school, but yet had experience. That way you can come in and compete. They didn't go out and do that, guys. And so that tells me you're, again, we're talking about minimizing your investment or minimizing the risk. I mean, I think they didn't do that. Their risk is massive because if neither one of these guys pan out, this team can go from being a decent 9-win team to a 6-7. I think it's that crucial that if that happens, you're talking about the Boo Birds coming out. It's going to happen. So I think this is a massive year for Kalen DeBoer, even though it's year number 3, and he's done some really good things. We don't want to take away from that by playing for an SEC championship, although he lost playing, getting into the playoffs and got embarrassed. But he got there. But what will he do in year number 3? And the fact that you're taking a massive risk by putting your eggs in the basket with 2 young guys who haven't played any, that to me could be, it could spell tragic for Alabama if things don't go the way we think.
Well, I would say I definitely disagree, but I also understand to an extent. And what I mean by that is I disagree, meaning that Austin Mack's going on year number 4, right? It kind of reminds me.
Ain't played none.
Neither did Ty Simpson, right? So my point is they took that route last year and they had success with it, right? They went into it knowing that their quarterback didn't necessarily have starting experience, but he was a guy that had the tools, he had the traits, he had the experience of competing in practice, which is not equivalent to playing in the games, but it's something. And I think they're kind of going off of that model with, Austin Mack, and then you got a young guy in Keelan Russell, if he's ready to play as well, who's, uber talented, really high ceiling. We know all those things. The only reason I say I somewhat agree that it is riskier this year compared to last, even though Austin Mack and Ty Simpson were both going into year 4, hadn't really played, but a little bit more experienced in that sense, is that this year you have a brand new offensive line, right? A bunch of youth at that position, which we know is critical to work alongside the quarterback and protecting him and giving him a running game, setting everything up. Then you also have a wide receiver room, which I think is a good wide receiver room, but in terms of like the depth of it, I do wonder about that, right? Because you think about it, you got Ryan Coleman-Williams, you got Latia Brooks, you got Rico Scott, and then of course Cedarian Morgan, but he's a younger guy. You know what I mean? Like Derek Meadows, a little bit younger guy, only going into year 2, haven't played a whole bunch. So I think there's so much youth that, to your point about a quarterback that's also inexperienced, I would feel a lot better if we had the guys around the supporting cast, that young quarterback, to be a lot more experienced. But the fact
100%. When you talk about Ty Simpson, the offensive line was more experienced. He had more experienced wide receivers. He had experienced running backs. The team was more experienced, which allowed him to play at a higher level, I think, even though they weren't amazing on offense. But he had those guys around him. They got youth everywhere on offense.
Right.
And that, to me, is a problem. And that's why I think this team will not be in the playoff hunt at all this year. I think they're going to be the 4th, 5th best team, maybe in the SEC. Could be worse.
Well, they were predicted 6th, so that would be better than what the media is predicting right now. Listen, I think 4th or 5th is it's better than what people are predicting. I mean, if you look at the other teams in the conference, I mean, Texas, Georgia, A&M, LSU, Ole Miss, right?
I think maybe they're 6, maybe they're 7th, 8.
No. I don't think 4th or 5th is bad. I'm just saying, like, it sounds a lot worse when you say it, but when you look at the depth of the conference,
maybe 4th will be a good year. That means they probably 8-4, 9-3 if they're 4th.
If you're 4th, I would say you probably have to be like 9-3. 8-4, you're talking about probably 6th in the conference at least. Or maybe at best, I should say.
Oh, no, 8-4 get them down to the Outback Bowl.
No, I'm saying think about last year. Think about no. Listen, because last year you had Ole Miss was a playoff team. They only lost how many games? 2, right? Alabama was a 2-loss team, but they only lost 1 in the conference, right? Georgia only lost to Alabama in the conference, right? Texas had 3 losses, one of those out of conference. They only lost 2 games. Texas A&M only lost 1 game in conference. So what I'm saying is 4th or 5th, you're still having to be probably around 10-2 potentially. That's how deep the conference is. Yeah. Maybe. That being said, Adam, I know we're out of time here. Any last thoughts, final words you have before we let you run?
Yeah, my final words is I'm concerned about the trajectory of the program. I look at LSU and I see up, and at Alabama, I'm not so sure. And as an Alabama fan, I hope I'm wrong. And the last thing I'll say is, as always, thanks for having me on the show. If you guys need some free legal advice, go to my YouTube channel, Lamparello Law. And we have a rule at our firm: we don't charge former Alabama players, Giants players, or Alabama fans. So you get free legal advice on YouTube, and in reality, free legal representation. So thanks for having me on. Great to see you guys.
Well, I might need my legal for my book that's coming out. Just get ready to be blown.
I'm here anytime. Absolutely.
Love it. Adam, thank you so much, man.
Guys.
Yes, sir. We'll see you. We'll see you next week.
Take care.
Stuff. You too, brother.
Thank you, Adam.
I got to make sure I heard Adam right. He said free legal services for Alabama fans? Maybe I didn't.
He said advice. There's a difference between advice.
No, I think he followed it up with something else, though. But I don't want to do that. But anyway, if you're an Alabama fan, definitely use Lamparello Law, big Alabama fan.
I mean, sometimes you just need a little bit of advice, you know what I mean? Just some advice to help you out. I'll take it any day, every day, and twice on Sunday.
Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram. Lease a new 2026 Chrysler Pacifica Select for $421 a month for 42 months, $39.99 due at signing.
Do you have cracks or potholes that are dragging down your property's appeal? Hey, I'm Christian Miller, and at Asphalt Restoration, we transform driveways and parking lots with expert repairs, new paving, or resurfacing. Fast, durable, and family-owned quality that you can trust. Don't let small issues turn into big expenses. Call 205-393-914.
Just Google US Mobile. Just search for US Mobile. Just go to US Mobile subreddit and make a decision for yourself. If you're ready, visit usmobile.com.
Consumer Reports does not endorse products or services.
You're listening to the home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports. Tide 100.9.
And welcome back into this Thursday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. We just got a few minutes left as we wrap things up. We got a free-for-all Friday tomorrow. Then, hey, next week.
Friday already?
Yeah, tomorrow's Friday. Thank God it will be Friday. TGIWF. Thank God it will be Friday. Anything you want to say real quick before we get out of here? Any other big storylines or anything on your mind? I know
I'm looking forward to Thursday night next week, Hall of Fame game. The Panthers, your former team is playing in the Hall of Fame game as your former teammate. Luke Kuechly has been inducted to the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and I know Luke very well. We were just together in Kiowa Island at Greg's event. They really like and respect you a lot. That's always cool talking to them. But yeah, looking forward to next Friday, some NFL football and preseason starts. So football is just around the corner, guys, and we'll have a lot more to talk about because we'll have, live bullets, so to speak, instead of all this hypothetical if and buts and candy and nuts. We'll have real things to talk about.
I can just say one thing. I sure as hell Alabama shows up week 1 and they put on a performance. Because I can already envision you sitting on this show, and if there's something that don't go great,
these are the negative things, man.
I'm saying because listen, I go off of what I mean.
I'm just going to call it like I see it. I'm just calling it like I see it.
So let me ask you.
Get Alabama.
No, you're not. But I'm saying, but I think you got a little bit of a pattern where you're going.
Ain't no pattern. They have a pattern.
Reed, you know what I'm saying.
No, I was about to say, Christian. We all know this is inevitable. So it's got to be something.
Listen. Listen, let me ask you this real quick because we got like a minute real quick.
All right, go.
So if Alabama shows up week 1, it's ECU. What are going to be your like how high are your expectations going to? No. I'm saying what are those expectations going to be? Because I'm saying knowing it's week 1, but knowing there's a lot that you think they need to prove. Week 1, are you going to give them a little grace knowing how young they? I'm just curious. I'm trying to pick your brain. I'm trying to feel it out. I just want to know what we
Listen, man. I'm a pastor evangelist. I believe in grace. Undeserved, unmerited favor. That's what that means for those that are note takers. Now listen, man. I expect them to win the game, but I'm telling you already that they are going to struggle. I'm going in with the built notion that it's going to be a struggle because they're young at quarterback. They are young at the offensive line. And guess what? East Carolina has a really good football team. And I told you, don't just get overly confident that they're going to win this game. And if they lost this game, I will not be shocked.
Whoa.
I won't be shocked.
Really?
I'm telling you.
Week 1 in Bryant-Denny Stadium, even
I don't care if it's at Birmingham National State Park. I don't care. My point is they got a young offensive line. They got young quarterbacks. East Carolina has a good football team. And they're probably more mature team. And if they are, that's could be a problem. Now, I expect Alabama to win, but I will not be shocked if they lost this game. And boy, if they lose it, it won't be just Corey Miller. You better listen to it's going to be, boy, let me tell you something. I'm telling you, it's going to be bad. Going to be bad, but we're not going to think they're going to. We're going to talk like that right now. Why did you even put that up out there?
I just asked a simple question. I just was looking for an answer. All right, we got to get out of here. We got to wrap things up. We'll be back tomorrow for Free For All Friday right here on the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9.
Free for all when they lose against them Pirates.
WTB. I can't even speak, man. WTB.